Hello and welcome to Beitzah Daf Zion. Sylvia, you can't interfere with my tripod over here. I have a tripod on the floor here. This is a new adventure for me. I have actually a tripod. I feel like I'm in Hollywood over here. Since I am in Hollywood, living in Eretz Yisrael, living the dream. My Yehuda, watching from the background. How is Rosh Hashanah, Yehuda? Daven well?
Yeah, well, listen.
I went to Yeshivas Beitzah and I found there was a Rebbe there. Davening was a little long for me, but the first day I had to leave early because I had to go to a meal. Second day I stayed the whole thing. We started around 7:30. We finished about 2:30. I think that's pretty much average about the Jewish world now. And we had a great story. Listen to this story, Yehuda. At Mincha on the first day, I daven here at the local Shul B'nai Yeshivas. And they had Kaddish, right? So Kaddish after Avinu Malkeinu, they had a Kaddish, and the Chazan forgot. The Chazan was the son-in-law of the rabbi of the shul. He's a rabbi himself, big rabbi in the community. He passed a lot of shilas. He forgot to say La'ela Ula'ela. He didn't say La'ela Ula'ela in Kaddish. So the person sitting in front of me, who was also about tefillah in the shul, he ran over right away. He looked at me. He looked back because I sit right behind him. He looked back at me like that, like what's going on? Like he was confused. He didn't know what's going on. La'ila. I mean, it was a terrible thing. So he ran over to the chaz, the rabbi's son-in-law, who was a big rabbi, and he told me they had a conference there at the front, the bima there in the front, and the Amud in the front. And don't step on it. And they had a conference about what to do. So it looked like the rabbi's son-in-law agreed with this other Baal Tefillah that he has to say it again. So he had in mind after Aleinu was over, he was going to say Kaddish again. He was going to repeat the Kaddish that was between Avinu Malkeinu and Aleinu instead of the Kaddish Yosem. The Kaddish Yosem was supposed to be after that. So he did that. After Aleinu, he started saying the longer version of Kaddish and not going to Kaddish Yosem. All of a sudden, the Gabbai of the shul runs over to him.
Ben's going to come in the middle.
Okay, he was going to come
back.
You missed a good story. Anyway, so the Gabbai of the shul runs over to him, and he says, No, we don't do this in this shul. We don't go back. And Le'ela, you don't go back for. And he just finished the Kaddish as a Kaddish Yosem. And then a couple people were looking at me. I stand near the bima. They're looking at me, a neighbor of mine. He's like, what had just happened? Because I wanted to say Kaddish Yosem. They completely eradicated Kaddish Yosem. There was no Kaddish Yosem at Mincha on the first day of Rosh Hashanah because a little confusion whether you say La'ela or La'ela, you have to go back or not. Anyway, that was the most interesting part of my Rosh Hashanah. I also learned how to learn Daf Yomi so I learned that during Chazaras HaShas. Actually, I learned most of it while I was waiting for them to start Chazaras HaShas, because most people daven Shemona Esrei for about a half an hour. It took me it took me like 5-10 minutes. It's a long tefillah. It took me most 10 minutes, so they took at least 45 minutes. I don't know. I had a half an hour to learn. It was very good. All right, so the Gemara says, about 5 lines down, on Zayin and Aleph, Ahu the Amr Luhu, someone said to another person, Beid Dichra Laman, who has eggs of basically fertilized eggs that come from a hen that was with a rooster, where the eggs can grow into chicks. Beid Dichra Laman, who has these? Yavule Beid Saf Ma'ara. Instead of giving him what he wanted, he was given eggs that were heated from the ground. There was no fertilization. There was no rooster over there, which do not become chicks. It's just a regular egg you'd buy in the store. Askamei the Rabbi Ami came from Rabbi Ami. He wanted to return to get his money back. Amar Luhu Mekachtos. He said it is a Mekachtos. It was a false sale. V'hadar, and it goes back. He has to give you the money back. Pshita. The Gemara is obvious. It was a false sale. He wanted to bake the dichra. He wanted fertilized eggs. Mao the same really, he wanted it just for eating. He didn't really want to actually grow chicks. I had the Gamar the Dikra Mishum the Shmin and Tfei, because the eggs that come from fertilized eggs, if they don't actually produce a chick, they'll actually are fattier and they taste better. So the mind asking, what's the difference? The misfale bani bani kamash malan. You might think that it's not a mekach tos, and we assume he wanted it for achila, and therefore obviously eggs that are fattier cost more money, but not as much as the difference between fertilized eggs and non-fertilized eggs that grow into a chick. So because you might think that only he has to return the difference between fatty eggs and not fatty eggs, kamash malan, it's a mekach tos, he gets all his money back. He really wanted chicks. Ibai Zema. Now we're going to go back to a Beitzah. We said Imitzias Nigmara. My Imitzias Nigmara. What an alternative shot in that. Imitzias Ruba Nigmara. When most of the egg comes out, so then the egg is considered completed. It's considered like it's out. If most of the egg came out of the hen before Yom Tov and then it went back into the hen. So it's considered born on Erev Yom Tov, and therefore even though it comes out, literally the whole egg comes out on Yom Tov, it's considered born on Erev Yom Tov, and you're allowed to eat it on Yom Tov. Now, even Beis Hillel would allow you to eat it. Ika da Amri, an alternative shot, my Mitzias Nigmara, Mitzias Kula Nigmara, Mitzias Kula in Avaruba Lo. It's considered Nigmara, it's only considered completed the egg if all of it comes out. But most of it coming out and then goes back in, it's not good. And it comes to exclude, to show not like Rabbi Yochanan, that Allah is not like Rabbi Yochanan, the egg fully has to come out before Yom Tov in order to eat it on Yom Tov. Gufa. Hashochet as Tarnagolas Mata Besim Gemuros. He shechs a Tarnagolas and he finds eggs that were completed. They weren't laid yet. Mutaras La'achlam B'chalav. You can eat it with milk. They're not considered to be meat. Rabbi Yaakov Omer Yemauros Begidin Asuros. Rabbi Yaakov says if they were still attached with by sinews to the ovary where eggs come from, it's aser. It's considered meat. Man Tana Lahad Tana Rabbanan. Who is the author of the Beitzah, which is a Ochel Menivlas Of Tor? Someone who eats from the nevela of an Of Tor, a kosher bird that was a nevela that died not based on shchita. It died or got killed without a proper shchita, so it's not metame. It's only metame if you eat it. The share of a Beitzah is metame in your clothes, but it has to be part of the basar of the oaf. Minashal shall be oaf tar. Minashal shall beitzim. If you eat not enough of a shear. It says on Torah, it's Torah that is its own. His body's Torah. His clothes are tummy. If you eat a kabetza of a nivelas of Torah, your clothes become tummy, not you. Mina shalal shal beitzim, mina tzamas, mina gidim, mina basar shenilash mina chai Torah. If you eat from the shalal shal beitzim is the eggs that are attached to the ovary, mina tzamas, the bones, mina gidim, the sinews, mina basar shenilash mina chai. Or meat that was detached from the bird while it was living, while it was ever minachai, tar, and it's your tar. Mina eshkol shel beitzim, mina korkon, mina ayino shehim chesachei lev gmo tame. But if you ate from the actual ovaries itself, or the korkovan, or the gizzard or the intestines, or you melted the fat and you drank it, tameh. Then your tameh, that is matame your begad. Mantana min hashal shal beitzim tar. Who's the one who says from the eggs attached to the ovaries, your tar? Amar Yosef delok Rabbi Yaakov. It's not like Rabbi Yaakov. Dika Rabbi Yaakov Amar imayimur is begid. And if they're attached with sinews to the ovary, asuros, they're considered to be basar. You can't eat with milk. Amalei Abaye says no, not necessarily. Mimai Dilma Adkan lo kamar Rabbi Yaakov Hasam Eling in the Isura. He only said when it comes to an Isra eating basar b'chala. Inyan tuma, this is the Rabbanan to eat it together. Inyan tuma, lo by tum we're not machmir. V'chi temal inyan tuma nami nigzor. Maybe you should make zera the Rabbanan by tuma also. Afushe tuma hu afushe tuma the Rabbanan lo mafshina. It's just spreading more tuma, and the Rabbanan weren't goes there to make more tuma. Ikada amri man tana me eshkol shal beitzim tame. Who is the one who says that if you actually ate from the ovaries, your tummy. Amar Yosef Yaakov. It's Yaakov. The Amar Imayimurus Begidin Asuros. If they were attached to the ovaries, it's aser. It's considered meat. Amar Abai Mimai. How do you know that? It's not necessarily true. The Eshkol, the Eshkol Mahana, the Talia of Eshkol. How do you know? The Eshkol means that were attached, attached by sinews to the ovaries. Dilma Eshkol Gufe. Maybe the Beitzah really means Eshkol Gufe, the actual ovaries. The ovary, of course, we eat the ovary, is considered meat. It's considered it's matami. You might think it's like the gizzard and the intestines. The basar ninu, even though they're really meat, since most people don't eat these things, it's you have the Bryce has to teach you that's considered meat. It's here also by the ovaries. People don't normally eat the ovaries of a bird, so therefore you might think it's not matamayu, kamash malach. That's why the Bryce had to say that it's matame your begodim. Tana Rabbana. The Bryce says kosh tashmisha bayom nolad bayom. Anything which mates during the day, an animal that only mates during the day, nolad bayom. So its offspring will be born during the day. It'll give birth that day, only during the day. Anything which mates during the night, only at night, nolad balayla. That type of creation, that type of being, will only have offspring, will only give birth at night. Any creature that is together with their mate, well, either during the day or during the night, nolad ben bayom ben balayla. Can be born like humans. We'll see. It can be born either in the day or the night. What's that talking about? Zu tarnagolas. Tarnagolas, a rooster and a hen only mate during the day. A bat only mates at night. A person, he mates both during the day and night. Anything similar to a person. Therefore, they could have children both by the day and by the night. Amar Mar, what's the nahalach nafkamina of that? The Cheder of Mari, Breder of Kahana. Rav Mari, Breder of Kahana is teaching. The Amar of Mari, Breder of Kahana, Badak Bakana Shaltar Golam Erev Yom Tov. He checked in the place where the chicken coop, he checked Erev Yom Tov. Lamatza Beitzah. He had some hens there and he didn't find an egg there. Lamachar Hishkum Matza Beitzah. On Yom Tov morning he wakes up and he sees that there's an egg there, muteris. The egg is allowed to be eaten because we assume it was born during the day. It wasn't born at night. It wasn't born on the night of Yom Tov. Alo badak. But didn't he check? If he checked, so he checked right before Yom Tov, so it must have been born at night. When was it born? He checked right at Hashkama in the morning. Amar lo badak yafa yafa. We assume he didn't check well enough. At filu badak yafa, even if he can tell you, he can give a living testament, I checked really well. Amar yatsa ruba v'chazra havai. We can assume that really what happened was that the previous day, during the day, most of the egg came out, and then it went back in, and then it was laid at night. But it's considered, like Rabbi Yochanan says, once row of the egg comes out, it's considered laid, even though it went back in. Any is a shruva. Amar Ravasi ben Shol. Amar Rav Badak beKana Shatar Nagolos Me'erev Yom Tov v'lo matzah b'Beitzah. He checked the chicken coop Erev Yom Tov. He didn't find an egg there. Lamachar Hishkim matzah b'Beitzah. And tomorrow, the next day, on Yom Tov, he woke up very early and he found an egg, asura. Yeah, we say it's aser. So the Gemara says, Hasam the Safnamar. That Bryce is talking about, that teaching is talking about, Yosef ben Shol is talking about where the hen is not with the rooster. And the hen just lays eggs by becoming heated up from the ground, and it lays unfertilized eggs. Because that, we assume a fertilized egg will only be born during the day, but an unfertilized egg can be laid at night. Ihachi derav Mari nami ema ma'arasaf. Now, why did Rav Mari tell you in his case that you could eat the egg? Maybe also the egg came from without being fertilized from a rooster. But the ika zachar bahada, he was talking about where there was a rooster with the hen. The ika zachar nami ema ma'arasaf. Even if the rooster was with the hen, maybe it just got heated up and it was an unfertilized egg and it could be born at night. We have a tradition that wherever there is a male a rooster with the hen or near the hen, it's not going to just lay eggs based on getting heat up from the ground. It's going to always lay fertilized eggs. That comma. How far away does the rooster have to be before we consider it's too far away that it wouldn't fertilize the eggs? Amar Rav Gam the Mishmei the Rav Kol Heicha the Shama. Turning the page here in the article. Heicha the Shama Kali Biyamama. Normally you can hear voices clearer at night. So as long as you can hear the voice of the rooster, the hen can hear the voice of the rooster during the day, that's considered close enough that it's only going to be fertilized. It's not going to lay eggs that are not fertilized. Avada Mari Uvda at Shisin Bati, he figured it out. He did a science experiment, and he figured out that 60 houses is the amount of distance between a rooster and a hen. For if it's more than 60 houses, we can assume that the hen wasn't fertilized from the rooster. Even if it's within 60 houses, if there's a stream of water, lo avra, then the rooster's not going to go across the stream of the water. So we'll consider it to be an unfertilized egg, and it could be even late at night, and it'll be asar yom. Avra, there's a bridge, it would pass over. V'ikas mitzra lo avra. If it has a plank of wood with a rope, this is a really weird case, Rashi says. It's talking about a case where it's a very thin bridge made out of a wooden plank, and there's a line on top, a rope on top of it. And apparently, the rooster, when it crosses the bridge, it holds on to the rope on top in order to steady itself while it's crossing over this small wooden plank. You ever heard of such a thing? You ever been to like a water park? They have like this thing where you have floating pieces of like plastic or whatever. These floating lily pods, and you have to step over the lily pods and hold onto the rope and cross without falling into the water. Sounds like that from Rashi. It's a very weird case. I don't know. Apparently roosters I've never seen such a thing in real life. If you have that, it wouldn't cross. And the Gemara says, Hava uvda va'avra mitzra. But the Gemara says the truth is not really true. There was an instance where they had one of these weird bridges, and the rooster did cross. So you see that the halacha is not like that. It would cross such a case, and it would be considered a fertilized egg, and it would be mutter on Yom Tov. Ma'ir badak. So the Gemara says, why is he talking about where he checked? Kilo badak nami. You singing over here?
I'm Dean.
What? Dean?
I'm Dean.
He's still having his tefillos over here. He's still in he's still in Musaf over here. I don't know what he's doing. You know, it was very funny after Motzei Yom Tov here, Rosh Hashanah. I'm telling you, Shmona Esrei lasted, for the rabbi was there also, Shmona Esrei lasted 15 minutes. Normally it's 10 minutes. It's extra. Tosefes Rosh Hashanah, they did an extra 5 minutes for Shmona Esrei.
Yalla.
Yehuda, 45 minutes for Shmona Esrei? Is that too much? All right. The Gemara says, Ma'ir badak. Why are we talking about that he checked? Kilo badak nami. Why do we have to say that he checked Erev Yom Tov in order to make sure that it's okay according to Rav Mari? Even if he didn't check, we can assume it was born during the day because that's when the rooster's around. So it only gets fertilized eggs. It's only born during the day. Kilo badak imam esmol hava. I'm sorry. The Gemara is asking on Rav Yosef Bar Shaul, who says it's Aser. Ma'ir badak. Why did he say when you checked Kilo badak nami? If it was the rooster wasn't around, it was Safna Na'ara. So even if he doesn't check from yesterday, we can assume it was probably we're suffix whether it was born at night on Yom Tov, and we shouldn't be able to eat it. Somebody says Kilo badak imam esmal haba. If he didn't check, we assume it was yesterday. The egg was from yesterday. It wasn't born at night. It wasn't late at night. Even if he checks, say maybe that when he checked afterwards, and he assumes it was born during the night. Why don't we say really rove of it was Yot the previous day, and it went back in, and then it was late at night, like Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara says Rabbi Yochanan lo shchiach. It's not shchiach to happen a case where rove of it comes out and it goes back in. Amar Yosef ben Shaul, Amar Rav. He also has a different teaching. Tuma shchika sakanta legiluya. Tuma is considered to be what is this considered? Shum. Shum is garlic. Garlic, which is ground up, it's liquefied. It's considered to be a sakana for gilu. We assume that a snake would drink it. If you leave it uncovered, we assume the snake drank from it and put his venom in. You can't eat it. There's different things, different liquids, which are it's unconnected to this Gemara. Just things, certain liquids, you leave them uncovered. We're worried that a snake partook of it, and you're not allowed to drink it. Okay, Beit Shammai Omer, back to the Mishnah. Sor b'gazayis v'chametz b'koseves. Malchus Beit Shammai Yitzhalal regarding Bal Yira and Bal Yimatzah about Saor, leaven, which is used to make other things, yeast or things like that, make other things chametz. What was the shear for Bal Yira Bal Yimatzah? Beit Shammai says the shear is koseves, a date, a bigger shear, and Rabbi Yitzhalal says a gazayis, a smaller shear. Ma'atamai the Beit Shammai. What's the reason Beit Shammai? Imkein lichta rachmana chametz below Bal Yisor. Oh, the Torah could have just said the word chametz, which is bread, or chametz. You don't have to tell me a leavening object like yeast. Chametz, if it touches other foods, doesn't really make it chametz. Because that is a kazayis, or shekimutza kasha, sor, leaven, which it can make other things chametz. Lo kol shekain, certainly it should be a kazayis. Sor, the kazar rahman alam, it didn't have the right sor, so why did it write sor? Tell me the shear of this, the shear of chametz is not like the shear of saor. That saor has to be a bigger shear. Beis Hillel says no, it really had to write chametz in saor. The ikas rachman saor. If it would just said saor hava mina mishum l'chemutza kasha. That's why the kazayis of a chametz and chemutza kasha and malo. Then it could be a bigger shear. Sricha. That's why he has to tell me chametz. Because of Rahman chametz, which is what a chametz b'shum the roy la'achila. Because chametz you can eat it. It's edible, so it's a more problem you're going to eat. You're going to eat chametz on Pesach. Aval sor, but leavening yeast, shein roy la'achila. You're not going to eat it. And malo, maybe there shouldn't be a problem. Bali rab bali matzah. That's richa. It has to write both. Well, Beit Shammai. So the Mari asks, Beit Shammai leis the Rabbi Zeira. Beit Shammai doesn't hold the Rabbi Zeira. The Am Rabbi Zeira pasach kasav b'sor. He says the Torah opened up talking about Sor, B'siyim, B'chametz, and it's finished talking about Chametz. Lomar L'cha, Zeu Sor, Zeu Chametz. They're the same thing. The same shear, both the Gazayas. So the Mari answers, Linyan Achila. Razir was talking about Achila, eating it, the shear for eating it. Kuli Amalo Pligi, everyone agrees the shear is a Gazayas. Ki Pligi, Linyan Biur. In terms of Bal Yiram, Bal Yimatzeh, Beit Shammai Savra, Lo Yafina Biur Me'achila. You don't learn Biur from Achila. Beit Hillel Savra, Yafina Biur Me'achila. You learn up the halachas of Bal Yiram, Bal Yimatzeh from the shear of Achila. Itmar Nami, Am Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, Machlokas Linyan Biur. Aval Linyan Achila, Debra Kol, Zev Zev Gazayas. Everyone agrees the shear is Gazayas both for Chametz and Sor. Tanya Namiach, V'lo Yiroy L'cha Sor, V'lo Yiroy Chametz. Zeu Machlokas Shemei Beit Shammai Beis Hillel. That's the Machlokas between Beit Shammai Beis Hillel. Beit Shammai Omrim Sor Gazayas Chametz B'koseves. Sor is a Gazayas, the Chametz is the bigger shear of a date. Beis Hillel Omrim Zev Zev B'Gazayas. Beis Hillel says both of them is a kazayas. Okay. Nashoche chaya v'of b'yom tov. So the Gemara says, Hashoche, if you shech chaya of b'yom tov is malchus misham yitzhal, what do you do? So the Gemara says, Hashoche sounds like di'evet. Di'evet in the chatchila lo. Hashoche, the word the hay seems to be telling me that if you shechted it, sounds like you're not allowed to shech l'chatchila. Ema sefer. V'yisrael omrim lo yishchot. V'yisrael says you shouldn't shecht if you don't have afar muchan. Michal Tanakama savar yishchot. Sounds like Tanakama. Beit Shammai holds that you're allowed to do shechita even without afar muchan for the kisei adam, even l'chatchila. So the Gemara says halo kasha lo yishchot v'yichasek amar. What does it mean lo yishchot? What did Beis Hillel mean when they said lo yishko? They said don't shecht and then cover. Kamar. Ema seifa umodim shimshach sheyach b'dakar yichasa. At the end of the Mishnah says Beis Shammai's moda, Beis Hillel's moda, that if you shechted, that you should dig up the dirt and cover the blood. How the reisha lav the evidu. Sounds like the reisha is not b'di'evet. Amar Rabba Hakikama. Rabba says the following: Hashoche doesn't mean to tell me b'di'evet. Hashoche means Hashoche. It's about a case. Shabali Molech. He's coming to ask Beis Din, what should I do? Ketzad Omer Lo. What do they say to him? Beit Shammai Omer Lo Shchot Chafar V'Kaseh. first you shech the bird or the chaya, the deer or the chicken. Then you dig up the dirt and cover it. They say it doesn't help to have. We're going to see it doesn't help to have a spade that has dirt already dug up in it. You have to have set aside dirt on the side already that you're prepared for Yom Tov. That shouldn't be muksa. We'll see all the issues involving this case in the coming daf. That's what Rav Yosef argues on Rabba Haki Amar. This is what it means. The same idea. Shochet comes to ask what he should do. He argues, he says first, according to Beit Shammai, they say first dig up the dirt, then shecht, and then cover the blood. Yisrael says you have to have offer set aside for this. Amalei Abai Rav Yosef, Abai says Rav Yosef, Lemamar v'Rabba, you and Rabba, but Rav Zera Amar Rav come with Lagisu. You're arguing about Rav Zera Amar Rav's teaching. The Amar Rav Zera Amar Rav, Ashochet Tzarech, She'it and offer lamata, offer lamala. When you do kisei dam, it has to be like lecha mishnah, right? You put a chalabor underneath and you put a covering on top. So kisei dam also, you have to have dirt underneath and dirt on top. Where do we know that from? Shenemar v'shafach hazdama v'kisau ba'afar. It says you should you spill the blood, and you cover it bi'afar with a base. Afar lo nemer, it doesn't say afar, ela bi'afar. Malamed shashochet tzarech she'it and offer lamata v'afar lamala. It implies that it should be completely covered in dirt, both from the bottom and the top. Demar Islay the Reb Zera, you Reb Yosef hold a Reb Zera. That's why first you said chafor. First you said take the dirt, dig a hole, right? Dig a hole so that there can be a place for the offer to be on the bottom, where you can put the dam, and then shecht it. Rabba Islay the Reb Zera. Rabba doesn't hold the Reb Zera. He holds you can just suffice with putting dirt on top of it. That's why he says first shchot. Amarle bein ladidi bein l'Rabba islay the Rabbi Zera. He said back to him, no, even Rabba holds the Rabbi Zera. B'hacha b'hakma flagina. What are we arguing about? Rabba savar ik afar lamata in ilolo. If you already have afar lamata, you have a hole where it has dirt on the bottom, which is roy for kisei adam. A type of dirt which is roy for kisei adam. Then it's good. Ilolo. Then if you don't have that, then you shouldn't even bother shechting the animal. Chayshin dil mamamlich v'lo shachit. Lo chayshin dil mamamlich v'lo shachit. We're not worried that I'll change his mind and not do shchita. Ulididi ha'adifa. But Rav Yosef says, according to me, this is better the way I said to first dig the hole. The ilo sharisle. If you don't allow him to do this, to dig the hole first, asay mnuyim esimchas yom tov. It could come that he won't have dirt on the bottom. And we know everyone agrees with Rav Zera Amar Rav, you have to have dirt on the bottom. So therefore he says first dig on the bottom, so you have dirt on the bottom, and then shecht. Because otherwise you might, you might hold yourself back and not do the shchita because you don't have dirt on the bottom. And you're not going to become simchas yom tov when you're eating your birds, your pargit, your baby chicken, and pita. Or your lafa with pargit, and what dressings do you put in there? You put some trina, you put some ketchup, barbecue sauce. What else? Everything. Hakol. In Israel, hakol. Put everything in there. That's the way you eat pargit and shawarma here in Israel. They doused it in all these dressings and all the vegetables that they have behind the counter, and you're eating vegetables and trina instead of pargit. This is how they eat in Israel. But what the heck is that? What is that? A ball? A fruit? What is that? A peach? It's a nectarine. All right. Mlava Malka. Bye. 2 peaches.